The next article I wanted to talk about is titled Christian MAGA Cultist COVID Vaccines Prevent People from Procreating. This story is written by Hemant Mehta on the Friendly Atheist website, and it's about a guy named Matt Staver. He's from an organization called Liberty Council. It's an extreme far-right organization. Guy is giga-religious, and that's not the only weird thing he had to say about the vaccine. He also says that there are tracking mechanisms in it, quote-unquote. I guess he means microchips. I mean, that's the kind of shit conspiracy theorists been saying since like the 90s, so it's kind of weird. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, watch the clips, see what he had to say for himself. Let's read this article and see what it has to say. The Christian right legal group Liberty Council is basically transformed from an anti-LGBTQ organization to a mouthpiece for faith-based misinformation about COVID, with founder Matt Staver using his platform to spread conspiracies that make Mike Lindell look halfway sane. Surprising, I know. How's that even possible? I just released a video about Lindell the other day. Over the past couple weeks, he's promoted the lie that there's poisonous graphene oxide in the vaccines, which absolutely is not true. It's not on the list anywhere. It's completely fabricated. Supported the idea that getting the shot violates the Nuremberg Code and claimed, with faulty citations, that the side effects of the vaccine are significant. He's only getting worse because conservative Christians refuse to call out his lies. During a live stream on Wednesday, Staver rattled off a long list of COVID lies in an attempt to discourage Christians from getting vaccinated. Let's watch the clips. I have two of them. One of the videos is the one that Hemant Mehta is referring to here, and the other one is separate from it. But let's start with this clip here and see what he had to say for himself.
We began to realize that there had been a global effort to vaccinate everybody on the planet. Sounds like a innocuous, a good, altruistic motive where they want to make people, quote, healthy, close.
It's not altruistic. Altruism means there's no motivating factor behind it necessarily. You're just doing it for the good of humanity, right? Getting everybody vaccinated helps the country. It helps us succeed. It's not altruism that's driving this. It's trying to succeed that's driving this. I would rather this as a motivation. There will always be a motivation when you're dealing with the government. There's always going to be some motivation behind it. Hopefully that motivation is good and positive. In this case, it is with the vaccine. They want to move the country forward and improve and make money and fix the economy and better the country all the way around.
Make people, quote, healthy, close quote. But in reality, what is involved in this is a depopulation, a population control, to reduce the population of the planet and to control everyone and to do it by force and to have a tracking mechanism to determine whether or not you've had one of these particular injections.
Wow, dude. Okay, so the guy is saying a tracking mechanism to tell if we've had the injections. I guess I misunderstood when I watched the video. I suppose what the guy is saying is a tracking mechanism to make sure that we've received the vaccine versus a tracking mechanism to follow us from place to place, like cell phones do, like they've been doing for fucking decades now. But in fairness, by saying tracking mechanism at all, he is dog whistling to that subset of the population who does believe that there's a tracking element to this whole thing. So I'm not giving him a pass on that one. I'm holding him to it. That's ridiculous.
So this is not just about COVID. COVID is being used as a mechanism for a bigger global agenda.
How does he know all this? How did he come across all of this information? Is there any evidence at all that this is what, like, the government or whatever wants? I mean, this is a government agenda, right? The government wants to depopulate the planet or whatever the fuck? Why would the government want that? Why would any government want that? That damages their economy. China's birth rates were way, way down recently. And as a result, they opened it up so that more people could have kids. Because if the future generation isn't bigger than the previous generation, there won't be enough people to fill the job market. They need more people to fill the job market and keep their economy growing. It is in the government's best interests to keep a healthy population alive, or at least to keep them alive. It's in their best interest economically and otherwise. I find it completely fucking bizarre that this guy went down the weird tracking mechanism slash depopulation rabbit hole. This is not a nobody, guys. This guy is from Liberty Council. This guy is Matt Staver. He's a big fucking deal. That's why we're even talking about him in the first place. But there's another clip that goes with this. Let's give this one a watch. This one came out around the same time, same interview.
I had two women coming to my wife actually, and they said, you know what? I don't have the shot, but I just visited my relatives and I stayed the weekend with them, and now I have 2 cycles a month. I've never had that. And we've had that with 2 women in our office.
That's completely made up. That is not true in any way, shape, or form. That's nonsense. If you've never had the shot, you're not being affected by the shot. Vaccine shedding has been debunked a billion times over, but I keep hearing about it from people like this, from people like Deanna Lorraine and others, Stu Peters, One American News Network, Newsmax, and to a lesser extent now anyways, Fox News, have been spreading this vaccine shedding nonsense. It's not true. It's not based in reality. It's nonsense.
Women in our office, same thing. And then other people. So then I started putting this out. And I've talked to doctors and they're seeing it in their practice.
No, they're not. Doctors are not seeing vaccine shedding. That's just completely fucking made up.
And so what we found was a woman who, for example, hasn't had the shot, but her husband did, but she's now sleeping, in the bed with her husband, not having any intercourse. They're older people and they just are sleeping together. But now she's starting post-menopausal having bleeding.
No, this just shows me he doesn't understand how the human body works, really. At the most basic level, he doesn't understand how the human body works. That's just such a load of nonsense. I don't even know where to start with it. Should I give him a basic sex ed 101 class? Like, should I just sit here and explain this to him? Is it worth the time?
We have people that are 9 months post-menopause, 9 months post-menses. They haven't had a cycle in 9 years. 9 years.
Just coming up with this right off the top of his head. Interesting. So is there any kind of scientific study that we can vet about this, or is this just anecdote after anecdote with unnamed people that you're not going to reveal to the public for unknown reasons? Are you going to give us the information we need so that we can do actual studies on this? Or are you just going to say that we're lying and you're the one telling the truth and we should just believe you?
This lady now no longer sleeps in the same room with her husband because every time she does, she bleeds. We've seen multiple women who are post-menses start to have bleeding in cycles. We've seen young women. I've had young girls that have gone with us on our Covenant Journey trip. They're having multiple bleeding. I have a great niece. She's had a cycle that's gone on for now almost 8 weeks and it doesn't stop.
Claiming that this is the result of being around somebody who was vaccinated is obnoxious, it's misinformation, and it's fucking disgusting what he's doing here. It's disturbing that he's getting on here and he is so desperate to scare people away from taking the vaccine that he is willing to outright lie. None of this is true. If he genuinely believes that what he's saying is true, then the other people in his life lied to him. I've heard of weird reproductive situations after the vaccine, not sterilization, just giving people a weird cycle one time and then they move on with their lives because their immune system is processing the vaccine, which is expected. That's in the side effects. That's not what he's describing here. That's not what's happening. He is describing physiologically impossible things and claiming that he sees it every day.
This is just in the menstrual cycle. I've had people who've had and these are all non-vaccinated people. They have been around them and right after coming away from them, family members, or at work. I have people who they say they go to work and they bleed at work. They come home and they don't bleed.
This is so completely outlandishly ridiculous. I honestly don't even know how to address it. It's sad that this guy fell into this conspiracy theory and hates the vaccine so much he is willing to lie to convince people not to take it. Let's read the article by Hemant Mehta, see what he had to say. During a live stream on Wednesday, Staver rattled off a long list of COVID lies in an attempt to discourage Christians from getting vaccinated. Those lies included the COVID vaccine is designed to depopulate the planet. The COVID vaccines include a tracking mechanism. Bill Gates wasn't vaccinated. He was. The COVID vaccines are meant to affect your reproduction and prevent people from procreating. Why would any government do that? It's in the best interests of the government to have more people in the next generation. This is back to Hemant Mehta. Those are all lies. Staver is either purposely spreading misinformation in order to hurt people, or he's too dumb to realize he's gone down a COVID rabbit hole of lies. Whatever the case, this also means that no one in his life circle has the courage or influence to stop him from doing all this damage. Unfortunately, he's built up an audience of gullible, hateful conservative Christians who followed his lead when it meant hurting LGBTQ people, and who may now follow him right off a COVID cliff. As many commenters online have noted, you know what also gets in the way of procreation? Death. Good point. There's all kinds of solid information about the COVID vaccine and the side effects and how common they are and all kinds of shit. There are also data sheets showing us how common side effects are with COVID. Unequivocally, without question, the vaccine is safer and better than COVID itself. There's no doubt about that fact. You can look at the spreadsheets yourself. You can look at the data yourself. And this guy is out here desperately doing everything he can to get people killed. He should be ashamed of himself. I don't know how he sleeps at night. In reality, the guy probably believes his own lies. The best liars usually do. And he probably thinks he's doing the right thing. Because, for the most part, by and large, everybody is a hero of their own story. They believe they're doing the right thing, for the most part. He's just terribly, horrifically wrong.